is where the fun begins.
Hello, welcome to the council. We begin tonight's meeting of the council by calling the council to order. Hello to everyone and thank you for joining us. The council is a live Twitch talk show and podcast discussing Star Wars: The Old Republic. I'm Elise, and with me are my fellow council members, Magic Ace and Sakari.
That's Lord Vader. I want to draw attention to my Vader suit, everybody.
Make sure you push the button, everybody.
Push the pushable buttons.
Yes. If anybody pushes the button on my shirt, I'm going to punch you in the face. So do not touch my shirt. Thank you.
Hashtag that's not a button. Sorry, Badger.
Wow. And moving on.
Yes, let's do that.
Redna is not with us tonight. He had some things to take care of. So tonight we're going to talk about the previous year, what we've been doing, and 5.10 or 5.10, depending on how you like to say it.
Right.
And what did you think of it?
And what did you think of it? And also Life Day, right? It's the Life Day event is going on right now.
Yeah.
Maybe we can throw some of that in.
I haven't done much Life Day. I don't know about other people.
Yeah.
I did, but I will say one thing real quick. I noticed that if you're on Nar Shaddaa, it's like 3 a.m. and there's no one else hitting the Life Day doors with you, the drop rate of the decos and stuff that you get goes way down. If you do it during prime time where there's a ton of people pelting it, your drop rate skyrockets. So don't do it when you're by yourself because it takes you 2 hours to get like 3 decos. If you do it when there's other people around, you can get 5 times the decos in like 2 minutes. So FYI.
I wonder if they did that because of the stuck droid. We can talk about that later.
Yes.
The glitched out droid.
I love this. Chat is hopping. Just to make sure everybody knows, SWOTOR, you can't get into right now. The servers are down. The server list is not populating, so nobody can log in. So we're going to have a great night tonight at the council. Over to you, Magic Ace.
After this wonderful live broadcast that we are having, you can find our recorded episodes everywhere podcasts are found, like our YouTube channel. And you can also check us out on our social medias, which would be like Twitch or Facebook.com/CouncilSOTOR. You can also find us on Twitter, which is @TheCouncilSOTOR. And wait, there's more. We also have a website, which is www.thecouncilsotor.com and patreon.com/CouncilSOTOR. Please and thank you.
Yes, indeed. Well, welcome to everybody. Glad to have you here. Be sure to join us in chat as we discuss different things. We want to know what you think about things. Definitely let us know. We'll have the poll as well as we do. So back to what we usually do here on a regularly scheduled episode. One item of which is the icebreaker question. A little something to get the chat going for the night. We thought we'd keep it real easy this time. Something nice and simple. Since we haven't been here for I don't know how many weeks. It feels like months and months. I just thought I'd ask, what has everybody been up to since our last episode? Elise, what have you been up to since our last episode? Yes, you look like you were chewing on this question.
I actually did something SWTOR related.
Mm-hmm.
Besides finishing 5.10, I actually finished my Sith Warrior story with Kirk, my man Kirk. So we got that out, so I have one left.
Oh, wow. So which one is left?
I'm done. Jedi Knight. That's the only one that's left.
You know what? I think that is poetic. That's a great one to start with or to end with.
Yeah. I gotta say, the Sith Warrior story was not bad.
Yeah.
But honestly, though, I don't remember. Was Scourge supposed to be in there?
No.
Oh, him. Okay. Who is he on?
We can talk about. So Scourge is
nice.
He's the Jedi Knight.
Okay.
He's the
right.
yeah.
So that's why I don't remember seeing him because I haven't seen him yet.
Yes. You take his job.
It wasn't bad, but he totally that story is way better at the end. The one reveal where you finally find out about the whole deal with Barriss and the weird people come in, and then the very end was really good.
I hate how nerfed that last fight in the core story is, because the first time I ever took on Barriss, he was hard, and you fight him all over that arena, and it's like to the death, and when you finally get him down, it was a win. And now it's just like now you can stand there and let your companion beat him. I mean, it's just like
I
so
barely fought him.
anticlimactic now.
I think Kirk like kicked his butt. Him and of course he had to come in furkini.
Oh, I'm
In the
sure.
furkini, not only did his
Right.
character have it on,
That is funny.
but Ashara had it on too, and he did that just to troll me. So
Furky.
thank you, Kirk. I know you'll be listening to this. I really appreciate you doing that. As long as you didn't bend over, I managed to keep my dinner. Anyway.
Yeah, Sapphire mentioned Stanaton the same way. That is completely
Yeah, I was
true.
about to say that. Thana,
Yeah.
I remember like, okay, this is back when free to play launched, when the game was still very difficult. Okay, very difficult for people who had slow computers and took forever to load anything, like me. So the Thanaton fight, I couldn't do it. The 3 times I tried to do it, I couldn't do it, and I got very annoyed. But thankfully, there was a Marauder that was willing to help me. Was like, yeah, I got this. Vet and I will come in there and wipe the floor with him. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And after like the 3rd time, he finally couldn't regen anymore, and he died. And I was like, oh, thank God. Oh, thank God.
He
now,
showed up in his 168 gear. This the other guy.
Now when I go kill Thanaton, I'm like level 70, and all I have to do is like pop, madness on him, like maybe proc it with corruption, and that's it. And he's just boom dead. Like that's it. I did nothing to it. It's very disappointing. Maybe a force leech. I could probably get one of those in.
And then the other thing that I did is I actually took my butt into competitive Overwatch.
Competitive Overwatch.
And tell us, how did that go?
So my co-host for Verification Code Required has been on me for, I think I've owned Overwatch for 2 Christmases now. And I just kind of was like intimidated. So I gave it a go at the end of this is 14, right? So season 13. And I actually placed high silver, almost to low gold. And then I don't know if I just got like intimidated or what, but I came back for season 14 and placed like high bronze. Like I dropped like an entire category. I do really well, and then I go on a losing streak, and then I do really well, and then I go on a losing streak. So I managed to get in with some people who know what they're doing, which is helpful.
That sounds like me in just regular PvP. Really well, really bad. Really well, really bad.
Right.
So
Yes,
it's a whole other world, even though it's like that team-based objective thing like we have in this game. It's
Yes. No kidding.
Anyway, so that's it for me.
All right. So let me take the ball next. I've been amazingly active since 5.10 dropped. I didn't think I would be as active as I am. I'm doing Conquest weekly now. I just finished yesterday my 3rd tune, which is huge for me. Because once upon a time, like getting even 1 tune was amazing through Conquest. Now, like I'm up to 3. I've got a couple of friends. I think they're in chat right now. There's some of my guildies that have been very good in like making Conquest awesome for our guild. So we are actually rating 3rd tier now, which is great. Like I think we completed it not that long ago. Like we had half of it done like with the first couple days. So like Conquest is rocking. I've been doing a lot of SWTOR. I played through 5.10's content twice on as an Imperial Loyalist. Obviously, because I've got imp characters. But I did that, and then I did this dailies once, but they're tedious. And we're going to get into talking about that, I'm sure, a bunch. So we'll see. We'll see what I think about 5.10's dailies. A lot to talk about in this. I think it's going to be great. But yeah, I've been doing like primarily SWTOR since we... I do need to make this announcement too, because this will make people like Liberoja fall out of her chair. When they started the double CXP, I started a Jedi Knight at level 1 and leveled her, and currently she is at CXP level 165. So, I mean, that's not bad for a week's worth of work. Like, I mean, killing it was great. I was moxing it up. So, good times. That was me. Magic, what about you?
You mean you were ruthlessly efficient?
Ruthlessly efficient. You better believe it. I was like jamming through those the storylines. She's on Corellia. I've got to finish stuff up, but yeah, we're almost there. That'd be cool.
I didn't actually level any tunes this time around because I was so busy trying to get gear. So when the new stuff dropped, I didn't quite understand exactly what it was getting gear because I didn't take time to read it because reading is tedious and I have children and stuff and
Right.
it was my fault. I should have done it because now I regret it. I'm a week behind in gearing. I won't be to full 58 like 258 like other people will. So I'm annoyed by that. But so the trick is, and I discovered this because I'm doing this now. You go take components that you've been saving because, you know, I've been grinding insane amounts of Nim raids to get the components from the drops.
Right.
So you take those and you cache them in at this Rhodian, or I think on the pub site it's a droid or something. But anyways, you go talk to this person, and one time a week, because every time you do it, it goes up by 500 components. So one time a week, you go to all your tunes of that class. Like if I have 6 Sorks, I do it on all 6 Sorks and like all 3 Sages or whatever. I take 500 components, buy the crystal, then I go do the weekly that you pick up from the droid, which gives you a crystal, and then you go do the weekly for Ossus, which gives you another crystal, and you get 3 crystals every week, and you grind that on every single one of those characters of that class. Then on your main tune, you buy your left side, your earpiece, your 2 implants, your 2 relics, and then on your other characters, you buy the set bonuses and you put them in legacy gear and send them over. That's what I've been doing. I have been doing that like crazy. And I don't even actually know what the Ossus story is because I've been space barring the heck out of it
Just
to
to get
get
it
through
done.
these tunes as fast as possible. And
Okay,
so
wait a
like
minute.
on a tune I don't care about, I'll finally go through and like actually know what the story is.
Okay, I have a question. We're back to crystals now? Is that what you're telling me? We're back to crystals now?
Yes, one
Right.
crystal.
Crystals are back. Right.
The first week, you got your crystal by getting 8 Warzone medals. Just 8. And the second week, you had to do 4 Master Mode flashpoints. How is that even close to equivalent? And guess what it is this week? You have to win, not just do. You have to win 3 GSF matches. How is that even close to
Wait a minute,
equal?
and you love GSF.
Oh, I am, what is it that everybody's saying now? Tilted or whatever. I don't know. Like, I am so
Yeah.
PO'd right now. I'm like, not even do them. It's not even like Dark versus Light. I just don't have to be there. Like, I have to win. What is wrong with you people? Because the people that have been doing this for years who have a fully decked out ship, they're going to crush us. We're not going to win.
They got
you
all
need
the
is one of
perks.
those
Absolutely.
people. You
Yeah.
only need one of those people, and they will carry your team. And if it's a bunch of like Elise and I who don't have any of that gear on our ships going in there, we're trash.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, we have we're doing that too, kind of working on getting everything unlocked in the ship and then trying to figure out, get leveled enough to where you can get the perks. By the way, I have some screenshots. I'll show some later on about all of this from a guild leader perspective, because it will show you some things that the average member won't get to see, and I think it's worth showing on the show. But yeah, we'll definitely look at some of the perks and
I did one more thing.
the lack thereof, the lack we have of perks.
I did one more thing of note to help offset how upset I am. The good news is if you're grinding for this gear, you don't need it till you actually get to like, if you're going to do like Nightmare Gods for the Machine, you don't need it till you get to like Nahut, because I was in a group and we killed Nim Tithe and we got to burn phase on A&E, but I had to leave so I couldn't keep going.
Wow.
So if you want to like, progress in that area, you don't actually have to have the 258s until you get to Nahut. So you still got a little bit of time.
Yeah,
Trust me,
and that
it's
makes
not
sense.
a cakewalk. You're not going to walk in there and just one shot. It's not Nephra, all right? So you're not just going to walk in there and one shot it. You actually got to do stuff. And it's a heavy tank fight. So, by the way, just so you know, you can do it in the 248 gear that you have now if you're not grinding for higher gear. Just warning. Fair warning.
Right. Oh, by the way, I got my first God's story completion this last week.
Woo.
The first one ever. I've been able to get to Isaac's. It was take so much work, that wretched puzzle right before him. Once you finally get through that stupid, and it was bugged as I could get out. But once I got in there, then we worked on it and we actually got a kill. So I was so glad that's over. Because man, that is not, I mean, at least, seriously, you and I were doing this together, weren't we? Like we were getting in there and trying to get it on Friday nights, wogging it up. We'd get like 3rd, 4th boss maybe, and that was the end of it because it was just so stinking long. So,
You know my opinion about Gods of the Machine.
Oh my goodness!
It's way too long.
Finally, story
If you're
mode
gonna
killed
put all
months later.
those, if you're gonna put all those puzzles in it, then
Okay.
they should have cut out 2 bosses.
Honestly, I think for Group Finder though, they need to take out the puzzle to get to Isaac's, just for Group Finder, not story mode like to
Yeah.
walk in yourself. But I think Group Finder
There's
because
too much
generally when people do
coordination.
group, well, and generally when you have Group Finder going, it's a bunch of people that don't know what they're doing. Like people who actually like hard raid don't generally jump into Group Finder and do story mode, unless it's literally because they're bored leveling a character or they've got friends that are like being silly and like, hey, let's do this. Most of the time they don't just do it. So then the people who jump in that don't have that knowledge or coordination or wouldn't even know how to like do this stuff, they jump into Group Finder and they're literally like, I don't know, and they're knocking the tether droids off the edge and you're like, well, we're screwed now. Rip Group Finder, because that's happened to me and I was pretty annoyed.
Right. Elise, before we get any deeper into this, because I know we're going to like have a blast at this tonight, would you like to get into the poll, the straw poll to this
Sure.
week? Let me send the questions to
This
chat.
week, we asked the community, for those of you engaging in 5.10's added story dailies, gear grinding, crafting, etc. Would you recommend it to a returning player? Yes or no? Those are your 2 choices. If you'd like to vote, please put your, I assume the bot is ready, Sakari?
Yes, it's A and B. It's yay and nay.
So go ahead and vote. Tell us, those of you in chat, let us know. We'd like to see what chat's vote is while we discuss the results from the
Yes, let's discuss those results, shall we? So Elise, is this where you have a lot to say?
I don't know if we're going to do it here or in the discussion section.
It's up to you.
I mean, I think that the results are because my dog is barking. I think it's because I went more than 2 years for any story content that they were like, yes, I don't care. It's something.
No kidding.
But yeah, I did not agree with our poll answers, but it's good.
Okay. Well, that's fair. I mean, like, if you don't like the poll
about,
question.
Do you want me to talk about my issues, or we want to wait?
I'd like to end with you, because you can introduce us to the next section. Does that sound fair?
Sure.
Okay, so Magic, can we start with you? Like yay or nay? Would you recommend this to a friend?
See, I have both answers because A, yes, I want the game to succeed, so I want people to keep paying for this content. And
Right.
B, no, because I care about people and wouldn't want to put them through the torture I'm putting myself through right now. But otherwise, yes.
Okay, so that's like an 80% yes, is what I heard. with the
Yes,
disclaimer on the end. Okay. All right, so I would say yes. I don't know why though. You know, hey, it's something new. I mean, it's like I like the game to be cool. I like people to be playing the game. I would say yes to anything that was like new. I think to some degree. I definitely, I'd say come play it. Come give it a shot. Check out the different things. I think it's less useful for the stories and more useful for the daily areas. Now that I think of it, the daily areas and the Masterwork gear grind. It's added some dimensions that I think keep the MMO people coming back as opposed to the RPG people coming back. Does that make any sense, Elise? So that's kind of like the short answers. I'd say A. Go for it. Show back up. So give us the short story for you, and then you can unpack it. What's the if you had to boil it down to one answer? What would you...
No.
Okay, so you're
I would tell people to wait until the new expansion comes out, unless if they're story people. Now, if they're rating people, I mean, that depends on you, basically. Like, it depends on the person.
right.
It seems to be awfully convoluted, and then I'm sure we're going to talk about the armoring stuff and that kind of shocking answer about the armorings and not being able to combine different...
Well,
it's
that's
a bug.
nothing new, though.
We'll
That's
talk about the
nothing
bug.
new. But
There's
that's
a bug.
nothing new. They did that before. I mean, back when 186 was like the gear you were after, the set bonuses didn't stack then because a lot of people had the tier down armories and had the 186 enhancements and mods. So.
Okay, But let me counter with this. How many people that were here for 186 do you think they're here for this time rating?
Oh, so you're saying it's new to them?
Well, I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
okay,
I
so
was like, oh my God, are you kidding? If I were rating, seriously,
It's
I
like a
know.
brand new issue, yeah.
I'd be like, peace out, I'm done.
I'm a little pissed because I accidentally broke up my 6-piece set bonus, and that's what I needed for my innervate to not be so long. Like, I needed that
Oh,
cooldown.
yes.
So that's why I've been grinding.
Because you mess up your 6-piece set bonus,
Yes,
upgrading
I
your
have
gear.
been
Yeah.
grinding hard now. That's why I've been like running so many Sorks and Sages through Ossus, because I have to fix that, because I can feel the difference in my heals. My heals this week has been frustrating, and I was like, what is
Yeah.
going on? And then I looked and I'm like, oh, I broke my set bonus. I broke my set bonus.
Yeah.
I was super annoyed.
So,
but it is something that happened before.
so-
This is not new for Tour.
Musco, let me primer this. Let me put a teaser out there. Musco did respond to someone on the forums that was bringing this up, and we actually do have it in our notes, so we will get there.
Yeah.
We actually have a lot to cover tonight. My goodness, I'm almost worried that we're not going to get enough of this in. So.
We're not going to get all of it. But that
Well,
is what it is.
We'll go through some stuff kind of
Do we
faster.
want to move this along then a little bit?
Yes, let's do that.
So last call, please, for a chat to votes.
Too late. Let's just say, let's push the results to chat.
Do your last one. Let's go. Okay.
Okay, and then do you want to? Looks
Can't
like
see it.
okay. So let
No.
me. We had 11 yays and 2 nays. Were you one of the nays? Oh no, you couldn't see it, so you were not. So there's 3 people here are salty about it, semi-salty.
I almost put nay, but then again, like, you know, I want to do stuff, so that means I need people to keep paying their subs.
Right.
Me to do stuff, so I said yes.
Kirk is here, by the way. He missed his. Kirk, you'll have to rewatch earlier.
Kirk, you always come in late.
And Rakenji says B as well. So we've got the B voters are coming in the door. A little late.
I forgot to say something, put something in the thing. So at the announcement section, hopefully Kurt can jump in and pimp in the chat, maybe.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about the community results. Go ahead, Elise.
Sorry, dog was barking. Okay, so out of 181 votes, 77% or 139 votes said yes. 23% or 42 votes said no.
So roughly a 3-1 yes to no. And I mean, like, our chat was even better about it. Like, we had 11-2. So our chat was a little bit of a better result on the yes side. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? There was enough people. I think there's a quarter of people out there that wouldn't recommend it to somebody new.
Well, I got on as soon as I was done. I would just like to throw out a caveat. I got out on Reddit as soon as the update, right? It's an update, patch, whatever, dropped. And after people started finishing it and coming on. And right after it was done, the responses were mostly negative.
Okay, so the first.
So as time has gone on at least on Reddit, I don't know about the forums. I have not been on the forums here of late. Although on the forums that first day I looked there too, and they were also fairly negative. But it looks like the tide is shifting towards being positive. But right after it dropped, there was a lot.
Okay, so that makes sense to me.
It? Like,
that makes sense because your most ambitious players are the ones that attack it first. And that's your vanguard, right? The people that push their way all the way through, and they're like, well, you know, they want the content, they have the highest expectations, they're hungry for it. So I see that. And then the more casual people that are like, hey, let's do this. Oh, this is pretty good, you know, that aren't quite as wound up.
Yeah.
I think get it later.
Too, there was a very at least right after right after people started trickling in with getting it done, there was a definite opinion that pub side was better than imp side story. So
okay,
that is probably one of the reasons why I have the opinion that I
imp
have.
side is
clearly you
better.
played imp.
Clearly.
Magic, have you so you were saying that you spacebarred the story as much as possible. I was wondering if you had any.
I realized I messed up, and I was like, now I'm like a little bit behind. I didn't have near the rep. I think I think now that I've caught up, I think on reset I'll be able to pop my rep and I'll be legendary. But like I panicked because like the chess piece and a couple other things like you can't get until you're legendary on 258. And so like I have to be legendary to get 258 because I'm one of the people who actually want to kill Nahut on Nim. So like I have to have that gear. And yeah, I just spacebarred, but I kind of know a little bit just from how many times like I've not spacebarred one conversation or so.
Right.
So I kind of know the gist of it, but basically I was just annoyed because Malgus is another Revan. Like we finally got Revan to actually really die, and Kefis the Undying is actually really dead, but now Malgus is back, and I'm like,
Malgus. Malgus the Undying.
So to me, I was a little, I was a little annoyed by that, and so spacebarring wasn't that much of a difficult thing for me.
Yeah, returning bad guys. Hey, Valkorian 2.0, what do you know? He's going to show back up one of these days. We have definitely got to get to the bugs. I think we're going to... Bugs are being mentioned in chat, and I think it's worth, at some point tonight, getting into that for sure. So much about this patch that just broke everything. Like, this has been one of the worst deployments I've seen in a little while for BioWare, with regard to how much stuff just got taken out as they intended to.
Somebody made a snarky comment about that on Reddit.
Okay.
Right? Like, they were like, somebody got up there and was like, don't leave it like this. You're going to go on vacation and leave us all like this.
And they did. You got to, it's Musco and his, okay.
It was sad but funny.
Oh, goodness. Well, I mean, he has been on the forums talking about it and letting people know, hey, we're aware of this and that and the other thing. We have a list of stuff that needs to get fixed. And then he, like, man, BioWare, don't do this. But, like, he was like, hey, yeah, so we're going to do a server reset tomorrow. That is, like, on 1/8, right, Wednesday. But it's just going to be for, like, back-end changes or back-end upgrades or whatever. We're not doing anything to... So there's going to be another week of all of this, while they do some troubleshooting and put together a patch that's going to deploy next week, Tuesday. So it's like, guys, man. Yeah, not so good on the patch, on remediating issues kind of side, but we'll get into that.
Right now you can, like, you couldn't log in, and then they're like, oh, now you can log in, and then they're like, JK, there's no servers. Gotcha. So if you're currently online on your server playing characters, you're fine. You can't do any of the new content because it doesn't count for you. It's going to be reset. And so if you're doing it right now, stop, because it doesn't, like right now at 8:29 Central Monday night, it doesn't count for you because they still haven't fixed it. And if you try to log in, they're like, no, you can't get in.
Yeah,
so
they do a rollback, you will be upset. That's true, especially if you get good drops.
2 weeks ago. Yeah. 2 weeks ago on Monday, they accidentally reset, and you could grind the master mode flashpoints. You could get a double, basically you got a free crystal, basically is what happened. But before that, when the content first dropped, when Ossus was first live, you could do your opening conversation stuff, and then they're like, by the way, 15 minutes, servers are shutting down. 3 minutes later, they're like, just kidding. Boom, servers are gone, you're kicked out, and they rolled back everything you did. And some people had the glitches where they couldn't progress in the story because of the rollback. And so SWTOR had to go in and manually go to those specific accounts that were affected and fix it. So this whole thing has been super buggy.
I bet you they've been busy, so busy, just trying to get on top of bug reports, collate information. You know what I'm saying? Like do the data. What were you saying, Elise?
Wrapping up vacations. People probably trickling back in because BioWare takes a whole month off, like over the holidays. So I bet you they don't have all the devs back yet. I bet.
Now, I'm sure this is debatable, but game-breaking bugs, are there anything out there that's like totally and utterly game-breaking? Besides maybe the gearing.
What I was mentioning about the account-specific things, some people, when they did the initial conversation with Lana, it auto-completed and they could not continue and go to Ossus. Like, that was it. Like, it was done.
Yes, there was one. That's right. There was one where
literally game-breaking. But
the quest wouldn't take you. Yeah.
And it was that.
Oh, that happened to me.
Yeah, so it was that.
For some reason, I thought that was supposed to happen that way. That was a bug.
That's as bad. That's as bad as a Revan fight. When they first did Shadow of Revan and Revan was broken,
You had to kill Revan 3 times for it to count in the same phase. I remember because I did it on multiple teams.
Yeah, if you
Ugh.
could, because
I
yeah,
had to have someone come help me. Yeah, you couldn't solo it, even though it was supposed to be soloable at the time. You had to have someone come in and help you, and you
right,
had to kill him 3 times, and the third kill it counted, and you could progress with the story.
right.
Well, there's nothing to pick up. You can't travel to the next place and have the next
Yeah,
conversation.
the mission
But that
is
was only specific characters on specific accounts. That was not like a total
yeah.
game break.
So the mission is Flesh and Steel. Once you complete the Flesh and Steel mission, there's a chance. Oh no, that's the one for the world boss that doesn't give inflection point. That's the one. Doesn't grant the continuation mission. Flesh and Steel is the hey, go kill world bosses, and it doesn't give you credit.
That was broken
Okay.
too. You had to leave the group at 5% and stay there for the kill and not release, even if you were dead or you didn't get credit for it. And even then, sometimes you didn't get credit for it.
Yeah.
I ended up killing like 10 world bosses before it finally counted for me to get it till we started figuring it out. The Ossus chat was just going crazy. And then the next time on reset, there was like 15 of us just waiting, and we're like waiting by the droid for reset because we're like, oh, hopefully it's
Right.
something easy. Get your mission from the droid, and then you go do world bosses. And we just farmed like 10 world bosses,
Over and
10
over. Yeah.
sets of world bosses on repeat, and that's how you got crystals in main hand, off hand. Yeesh.
Yeah. A mission sharing is broken. Nobody can
Yep.
share missions with anybody. You have to manually pick stuff up, which has been a drag because I've been contending with that all week. I've been doing the last boss lockouts like crazy this couple weeks. Let's see. Assumed choices for some people. Remember how we were going over that one week about what, if you've not done it, you start 5.10. And
Oh, no, I remember.
there's all those assumptions that it makes. There are some people that had made their choices and they still got stuck with the choice assumptions, which
Yep.
that would be
Yeah.
infuriating to me. That would be the biggest.
Yeah, if you're a story
Upset.
person and you have to complete your story so you could make those decisions, and then you go into the next point and it auto like chooses things you didn't choose.
Oh my!
Yes, that's why I actually paid money to buy a token so I could just grind another sort through Ossus and not have to drag more characters through, because I can't handle them doing that to my characters. I have to make the choices. That's the whole point. Like, I have to complete the
Me
story.
too. I will
versus
not. Absolutely, I
I
couldn't agree
paid
more.
money to get a token so I could get another sork through because I needed to get one more sork through the weekly, and I didn't want to level and do the story
Right.
again. And so, yeah, that would make me pretty mad if they did that to me.
No kidding. So there was that. Apparently, for some people, Malify Quinn just disappeared. Let's
But
see.
who misses him? Come on.
Yeah, some people. There are people out there that
I know.
think he's cool.
There are
I'm
So
friends with one of them. I don't know
Who
why.
love that.
there's
who love-
another issue. There's a lot of companion problems. One of them was Darkside Jace losing influence and not accepting gifts. So you'd get Darkside Jace back. Suddenly she's got level
Would
1
she, like,
influence.
screw you?
Yeah, well maybe she broke it off, and I would
don't want
expect
your
that from
gifts.
her.
Forget it.
and then you can't level her back up. I'm sure that would be like infuriating. Original class companions duplicating in the companions list. That's a kind of minor one, but I noticed that was kind of annoying to me because
Yeah, I had
you-
3 Talos Drellets. Like, really? Come on.
really. And then suddenly there were some companions that were unavailable. Like suddenly, and I noticed that these were all Inquisitor companions: 2VR8, Andronicus, Ashara, Kimval, Talos Drellic, and Zalek. All of them are Inquisitor class story companions. Suddenly, for some people, were unavailable. So I mean, there is some stuff out there that got broken with this. That to me, it makes me wonder about BioWare's QA. Like how much stuff is actually tested before deployed.
Let me tell you, since I was on PTS, not a lot. Okay, just saying.
Yeah. Well, but because you get people that they show up to try the newest content, to test that, and then they report on it. So the new content looks good, but they're not testing all of the other related stuff that nobody knows. Hey, I mean, who's going to get on there and test all of the companions? Like, are they here? Are they duplicating in the list?
But
So
I mean,
you guys can't say, but I mean, I know when I was helping to test Kotet, I think maybe, we didn't really get to see all the chapters. They held a lot of them back for the surprise factor,
Right.
for even for those of us that were on the the PTS. So I wonder how much testing actually got to be done with the community testers,
right,
because they don't want to show all of their hands. But I didn't test this last round, so
right.
I don't have any, and we can't talk about it here anyway. But
Well, the
I
public
just
stuff you
wonder
could.
whether or not
I mean-
everybody.
Yeah.
I wonder if there really is as thorough testing of story components as there are for raid or
Well, they can't, right? Because they don't want to reveal it to anybody until the
right,
date goes live. So even your testers don't get to see the story
right.
components. So yeah, I mean, you if chances are you may get a little bit of it because if they have the dailies already active, there are sometimes they put the dailies into the story or they'll put the heroics in. So you may get like glimpses of it, but not the whole thing. Do we want to talk about like the environment and dailies? Like Magic, what was your perception of Ossus as a planet?
Are we going to talk about the story at all or no?
Sure. Yeah, let's talk about the story.
Well, let's say no spoilers yet because it is still pretty new. Like some people are
Yeah.
just coming back from holidays and stuff, so I wouldn't say like spoiler stuff.
And
However,
listen, Malgus being back is not a spoiler because Bioware
I was
did
going
it.
to say it's already been spoiled by BioWare. So
Yeah.
well, not just BioWare. Remember, there was a huge to do on Twitter about the people who did the what is it, data mining or whatever, and they're like, Malgus is back,
Yeah,
and they
that
like
was
had
that.
read the script and stuff.
Yeah, those data miners
Yeah.
ruining
Anyways,
ruining it for all of us. But
Ossus itself is beautiful. I loved the planet. The water is fantastic. If you don't have a she's really excited about it too. If you don't have a computer that can like really appreciate the graphics, like I'm sorry for you because you are missing out on it if you care about that.
Yeah.
And if you're just space barring through and getting your crystals as fast as possible and you're not looking, then you don't care. That's fine. I get it. However, the people who like to look around and explore, there are little caves you can go into and things to discover. That's pretty nifty. As far as the Geonosins and the whole plot of it, I honestly am annoyed by it. That part bugs me. Literally, it bugs me.
excuse the pun. Right.
So that's pretty annoying on my opinion. But the rest of it is okay. The dailies actually annoyed me the first week, but after the second week, and I
The
had like a
dailies
feel
are
of what
so
things were.
tedious.
Honestly, it's not bad because you don't have to do all the dailies to get the weekly. You only have to do 10.
There's a weekly.
You have to do 10.
There's a half
so
weekly.
You pick the ones that you want to do. So I pick the ones that I want to do, and then I just like let go of the rest of them, and I just do the ones I want. And so for me, I like that because it's not like on Droman Cost where if you want to get the weekly, like you need to have all of So like if you don't want to wait for that one to respawn that takes like 5 minutes, well, too bad you don't get the weekly for it if you don't do it. You have to do it. So I mean, like honestly, and if you do your datacrons, you get Udbanar. And if you don't know what that is yet, just wait, you'll find out. Go do your datacrons.
I like that thing. I will get it eventually, but I'm not doing the Datacron for the flare.
I'm not gonna lie. I had someone do it for me. They were like, I can do it. I like platforming. I'm like, really? Because I hate it. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, sweet, thanks. I'm like, I've got raid tonight and I want to spam that in chat. Can I please? And they're like, yes. I'm like, thanks. So someone else did it for me. I did not give my account information away. They came to my house and did it for me. Just so and then they got off the computer and I got back into my thing.
Service.
Yeah. I did not give my account.
I did on Bounty Hunter. I didn't want that, and I don't know if it's still bound. Right after the patch drop, they said it was bound to whatever character you do the Datacron on. I don't know if that's still true or not. I haven't been paying attention, but I think it looks better on a dual lightsaber, so I'm waiting for that. Anyway, did we want to talk about? Okay, so that was Magic Ace. You thought it was great.
I thought the planet was good. It's large. There's plenty of places to go to. You can pick and choose what dailies you want and still get the weekly done, which I love. Yeah, it really doesn't take that long. Once you get the feel for it, it's kind of like when Ilum was still a dailies area, and I did Ilum all the time. I knew exactly what path to take and where to go, and I had like a rotation, and that's what I do. So I pick up all the dailies, I do the ones I want, and I dismiss the ones I don't want. So honestly, it's not that bad.
I've got two things I would want. I agree. I hate orange. Can I just say that? I hate orange. And a whole planet of orange. Orange is not my favorite color.
Orange, okay.
And I'm just like, it's like this deluge of orange I have to just kind of put up with. But hey, I know that's a very small thing.
It's better than another solidly white planet like Hoth and Ilum. I mean, like, it could have been worse.
Well, I mean, there's things about Hoth.
Like, really, of Tatooine and Oricron, really, if you think about it. So,
but another thing is, like, I was noticing, talking about graphics, like I was noticing, like it's not just straight orange, right? Like if you actually look at it, it's sandy. There's like some texture to it, which I think is really. It's the
Yeah, you can
minor
see
things like that.
footprints in the
Yeah.
sand where the trail is. And that's one of the things they did when they rolled back, when they had to do the rollback. They forgot that they didn't put in a texture on the planet or whatever, or they didn't fix it, that didn't translate over when they did PTS. So they
Yeah.
reapplied some textures, and now you can see footprints that you didn't see before when it first
Oh, that's
launched.
cool. Yeah, yeah. I mean, so I actually took some screenshots of the caves because they're doing so much better with caves now than they used to. Have you know, throughout the core story, every cave you go into it, there's usually a thing with like a raised platform in the middle of that open area, and then
The
off to the
same three
left.
caves, no
Yeah,
matter where
off to the
you
left,
were.
you
Yeah.
run down that thing, and then it curves slightly to the left and goes down, and then there's a raised area right at the end, and that's where your objective is on every single one of them. Like they've quit
Yeah.
doing that, and I'm so happy that there's no more cookie cutter caves. Like they have, they're just so much more cooler. They got water coming through them. I mean, like their environments are phenomenal. I can't rave enough about how good they're doing on environment stuff.
Oh, somebody
lately.
said something about decos. I just want to say, like, I expected a little more from decos. It's basically just things that you walk by and you barely glance at. They're not things that you really like, oh wow, look at this really great deco. It's like, okay, there's a crystal and there's a planter and there's another crystal and look,
Right.
there's another crystal and look, I got another crystal. And after like the 30th crystal, you're like, what other decos are there? Oh, there's a statue. Oh, I have to be legendary reputation to buy this statue. Okay, I'll wait a couple of weeks. Oh, look, another crystal. I was a little annoyed.
I guess one of their background designers became a new age person, and they like really are into crystals.
There are a lot of crystals. They are pretty, but
Like
still,
the one they're like
just
namaste.
crystals.
I didn't look at those because I was still pissed off about the story. So I have not looked at that.
You didn't look at the decos at least? That's
Okay.
your job. How
Yeah, I know, right?
Like I haven't been back since
So-
since I did the thing. I haven't been back. I was that mad that I didn't even look at the reputation vendor to see if there were decos. But you now made me sad that the decos are.
I mean,
There's another one. Put that on your list.
Pub side, you probably like it because there's Jedi monuments. But I'm sorry, like I have like eight or nine strongholds that are all decked out in imp stuff. I don't want Jedi monuments. Like that's not the kind of decos I'm interested in. There's like nothing that appeals to me other than like the planters.
You have to keep running Nathema. That's where you have to get your stuff. Yes.
But
because I love cancer.
Statue of Malgus for the anniversary with a big flag.
Yes, it's the conquering hero.
Stronghold. It's Malgus.
You can put 999 copies of it in your stronghold. So at least you
back when you just filled your strongholds with chairs or like the hollow dancers from Rishi.
The trees, Christmas trees are better.
At least okay. So give us your breakdown. Story, environments, dailies. Like tell us what 5.10 was to you.
Okay, so I agreed with Magic Ace and you on a couple of things. The fact you can run around and you're not as much on rails as we have been for the last 2 years, basically, with new content, right? The water fountain and all that stuff was cool.
Mm-hmm.
The environment is cool. I like the fact that I sat there and I went, thank you, goodness gracious, you did not make it an instant story. I literally walked in there and I was going to.
Yeah, it wasn't on rails.
If it was instant story, because I refuse to play any more instant story. So BioWare must go. If anybody's listening, if you do instant story, I'm not paying for it. I'm just telling you, I'm not playing it. So every single time I would have to redo it because of some like server reset or whatever. Right. So that was good. I'm glad there's daily areas. There was lots of people running around killing things and a couple of people. I saw other people, which was nice because that's been a while. So that was cool. But overall, there wasn't enough yay, this is nice to balance out the salty that I had playing the story. It was overall kind of, no.
Okay.
I have 4 reasons.
Okay, yeah, tell us your reasons.
So I played as a bounty hunter, Imperial bounty hunter. I am a light 4 Imperial bounty hunter.
Okay.
Keep that in mind when I answer.
All right.
Yes, I stayed with the Imperial because of my tiny bit of role playing. because I thought Asina was actually ruthless but fair, at least compared to predecessors. So that's why I made that decision. Okay. That's the only role playing I do. Okay, moving on. So number one, I totally did not understand why the Imperials were doing what they were doing on Ossus. The entire time I felt bad for the Jedi.
Absolutely.
The whole time. I couldn't understand why we took our entire armada to go to Ossus to just burn farms and kill droids. Like,
not only that, they sent a whole armada there with what's her name. We got to be careful of spoilers here, right? To do something, and what's the reason? Nobody really knows.
Right.
It's like, hey, we're here. We're going to fight them.
The whole time I'm like, why are we doing this?
Remember,
why are we doing this?
Remember,
why
I had that whole
stuff? Why am I doing this?
Yeah, I had this whole, like, there's got to be a reason that they're there. I'm sure it's related. Remember this, related to something in Darth Malora's specialty, and it's like I didn't see that, so I couldn't agree with you more on that.
Number two, so this is the part with so Sakari and I already had this conversation. I totally felt like I had an executive decision moment in this chapter.
Hold on. So I have a slide for this. Ready? Hold on. There it is. Executive decision. In case anybody remembers this movie.
Yeah.
Kurt
so
Russell.
Chad, if you saw an executive decision.
Right.
Okay. So if you guys remember, I'll do a really quick lead in. Executive decision. They paid Steven Seagal millions of dollars an executive decision, and he's in it for 10 minutes, and then he gets killed. Yes. Right at the beginning of the movie. And he had top billing over Kurt Russell, who is in the entire movie, is the main star of the movie. And Steven Seagal was billed above him and gets killed off in the first 10 minutes. Right. Melora, executive decision. I was
that's funny. Oh, I see the connection.
What? I was like, are you kidding?
Did you play it all the way through?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yes, stuff happens at the end, but still, I was like, are you joking? We had that whole stream where we had all that lead up and blah, 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 and then, ta-da!
Yeah.
Okay, so 3.
Okay.
So we already know it's been spoiled, but I hate Malgus. I hate Malgus. I hate Malgus. I won't play alone.
Wait, what was that? At least I didn't catch
it. I have done flashpoints or whatever that is twice, and I said I don't want to look at his nasty face anymore. I'm not doing these anymore. So
now,
I hate Marcus.
Okay, fine. If they're gonna bring him back, I want to see them being loyal to what was the book, Magic, the one where it was all about Malgus. It was the Deception. Was it Deception? Deceived.
I was Deceived.
Okay, whatever. Somehow there's some kind of deception or deceivedness in it. But yeah, I want them to.
I have to go check, but it's in the other room on the shelf, and I don't really want to get up. But I'm pretty sure it's Deceived.
Because Malgus's character is very much about. I mean, he feels betrayed by the whole fact that the Empire initially created any kind of peace. That he's like, that's against the code. Peace is a lie. And he's so bothered by the fact that they made peace with the Republic.
And he believes that the Sith should be strong and not weak, which is why, spoiler alert, he kills someone close to him because he knew they were a weakness.
Yeah,
not
in the book.
Bootlicking Valron or Asina, as the case may be. Come on now.
Yeah. So so I'm saying this. At least I'm kind of with you on that. But if they're gonna bring him back, I want a better Malgus than the Malgus we had before. I want.
Listen,
Malgus.
You should be dancing on cloud 9. You're the one who, for months, has been saying on this show, "I want them to bring Malgus back. They should bring Malgus back." I'm telling you what, though, Malgus is my companion.
Well, okay, I don't want Malgus the Undying. You know what I'm saying? I don't want Revan the Undying. I don't want this carbon copy. Hey, here he is. That you get to kill him again in a flashpoint. Now you get to kill him again in a raid. I want
only cool
character development.
Kefis, so because it's also Kefis' clone. Technically, Kefis actually did die. He was just cloned a lot. His clones just kept coming back.
Okay,
so cloning Melgus.
I dislike Malgus so much that I would rather have Kefis be the bad guy in the next section.
Wow.
And I hate Kefis.
You know what? Honestly, at the end when you fight Zildrog, Kefis should have busted out and been like, "Yo, let's go!" And you fight.
Well, they have Kefis in one of those cylinders.
I think I would have gone no. like the thing meme. Okay, so my
No,
last
it's
one
great.
was, again, I told you all to remember that I was a light for bounty hunter. The
Okay.
choices, if
Oh,
you are
sorry,
not
sorry.
straight up, yeah. If you're not straight up like a prototypical Imperial, and I assume it would be the same for the pub side. I don't know, I haven't played it. And again,
Okay.
everybody, I preface all of this that I haven't played it Republic side. Maybe it's better. I don't know. I kind of feel like the way they wrote the story that it would be, but I don't know. But there were horrible choices if you were not a prototypical dark side Imperial or I assume light side Republic. I don't know, but that
Okay.
would be my guess because that's how they wrote the Imperial side.
Okay.
Really crappy choices. I didn't like any of my like
No, this is
answer
a good point because, like, so for
so
instance, if you start a character, you say, "Hey, I want to jump forward to 5.10, but I'm starting an Imperial character, and I want this Imperial character to be a light side person." All of the choices that they have made until that moment have been dark side choices. Now suddenly you're playing a light side character, so you're a light side character having to deal with all of these dark side um, repercussions of previous choices you've made. Which, yes, I mean that's actually a really good point.
I mean, and just the responses that you had to choose to answer back in the cutscenes. There was no good. I mean, when you play the bounty hunter story, you have the option of doing the right thing and get paid for it, right? I mean, like Mako was my girl because I like totally went down that path. You had that option. Now there's not. It's either you're gonna kill this person or you're gonna go screw the Republic, and there's no like in between. Like there's no, well, can I just like kind of do this, but I'll follow your directions, but I really don't want to like. And I didn't like the very last fight that you do with the so and so person that's at the end.
Yeah.
I really hated that. Like I didn't even like the light side choice I had to make, but it was better than the dark side one. So that's it. That was my four
Yeah.
reasons. They were I started I started the update. It's like what, an hour of story content. I had to stop and wait 2 days before I could finish it.
Yeah.
That's how much I disliked it. It was
That's how I was
that.
when the Trader Amongst the Chiss like launched. I went in with my Marauder and I had crappy level 1 healer, and you pulled everything, and ads were like 3 times harder than they should have been. I was like, F this, I'm out. I like rage quit
Down
out.
for
I
3
didn't
days.
log
Yeah.
back in for 2 days. I was so mad. Then the next time I go in with a healer and I'm fine. But at the moment, I was very, very upset and could not do the new content, which is terrible because my favorite species is the Chiss. So that was really bad. That's how mad I was that I wouldn't go play new content because of that. However, with this stuff, it's not as game breaking, so to speak, even though it
Yeah.
is very buggy, like very, very buggy. I will say the most annoying thing is when I got to Styrak and I was killing Styrak, and then someone shared the weekly as a troll, and I couldn't accept it because the mission share is broken, and I killed Styrak without the S&V weekly, and I was very annoyed.
Ugh.
But yeah, that for me is kind of game breaking because I have to remember to go to the terminal. Do you know how
Yeah.
much extra time that takes? I can't just take that flagship transport. I have to go to the terminal first, and then it could expire. Like I'm salty. It's fine.
Yeah. No, that's one thing. Like I said, I've been contending with it all week, and it's just annoying. I mean, granted, if you
And my friends think it's funny because they keep sharing missions. They share like tons of stuff,
you
knowing
get
you can't
trolled with it.
accept me in there. Yeah, it's getting annoying, but it's fine.
So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. One of the things I think I'm going to do, because I had screenshot after screenshot after screenshot here in our notes, showing everybody a kind of behind the scenes look at some of the guild improvements that they've made. And actually, I think a lot of them are really good. And we'll talk about this next week if it's okay with you guys. Just bump it next week. And then what we'll do next week is also discuss kind of our outlook as the council on what we think about 2019. What are we hoping to see? So we'll do a lot of that next week. And I'd like to also look at like perks and whatever else there is, settings from the guild leader kind of perspective. But we'll tour you through all of that. The only other thing that I think we have on our notes here that is worth a visit again is the talk about the Masterwork gear, and I think the set pieces, right? 2 new set pieces. This is somebody on the forums that said the 2 new set pieces do not mix and match with the old set pieces. Now we basically have to farm 6 new pieces of gear, or we can upgrade any of our armorings. BioWare knows about it, apparently. Musco says, this is a bug. I acknowledge it here. The reason that, here was a link. The reason we didn't fix it with today's patch is that we'll be addressing the issue is basically practically very substantial on our side. It will involve us not only fixing the items to work properly going forward, but we need to quote unquote change the way gear already in the wild is working together. So basically, they have to go and reverse engineer and fix all of the existing gear in order to work with this gear. That makes me go, did she? What?
How is that possible?
Yeah.
Like, this is not the first time they've added new gear in. And we're having this problem
Yeah.
7 years into the game? What?
Yeah. That just
What
doesn't.
is it? What is it with the gear that just they're just can't get it right? And like they finally brought back the vendors where you could do it like you did with PvP gear, where you just trade in the shells, and now they're like, hey, you're gonna have 2 different set bonuses just because you're a major troll.
Well,
Because
not only that, because
for them, I
they
think it's a joke.
invalidate all of their. So they've said, hey, you're going to get 300 levels, and at 300, you keep getting boxes that are going to give you this tier 4 gear. Then the next piece of story they come out with is, hey, here is something that gives you a tier 4 gear and a tier 5 gear, and you don't need to bother about any of that other gear set stuff as long as you can do the dailies, right? So that invalidates the whole thing that they've been fighting with the community about, trying to get and put in place. Oh, this is the new paradigm. Now there's another paradigm on top of that. So there's that. I need to chill. Oh my goodness. We'll see what happens.
I don't understand. Don't understand how we're at this place in year 7. I really don't. This is year 1 or 2 stuff. I don't understand.
And didn't they just sink like several $1 million into upgrading a bunch of stuff so they could do better things in this game? And I don't know if this is actually true or if this is just me being salty and feeling entitled, because apparently that's the generation now. But honestly, I really think that the new stuff they got broke a lot of stuff. Like a lot of the old things that actually were never broken are now broken or don't work right, or things just are weird. Even the strongholds and stuff, like things in them just randomly happen. I was in a war zone where I was up on a platform and I was walking, and then I'm suddenly on the ground, like underneath, like it's a Quesh. It was Quesh Hutball. Like I'm up here, and then now I'm underneath, and I shouldn't be. Like I literally teleported down through it. I wasn't knocked off because I was in the middle. I have it on stream. I was on stream when it happened. I'm up here, and now I'm down here. Nobody knocked me off.
I'm sorry, I had to shiver.
But you know what I'm saying? Like things that were never broken before, like now suddenly they don't work. Yeah. And I don't think it's just the new content. I think personally, my opinion, that it's a lot of the stuff that they did. It did fix some things, but it broke the things that were never broken before. So I think the new stuff may not be quite as good as we thought it was.
I just wonder how some stuff is related. Right, because they say, hey, here's a new thing, and I can understand if they deploy something new and there's some breaks in it. That I get. What I don't get is how they can deploy something new, and then all of these systems all over the game all suddenly have all of these issues. And it's like, well, how is this, what you just developed and deployed now, related to that in any kind of way?
The more that I've been hearing about this, something that we got told when we did the interview with Matt and Moscow, right, Matt
Pusevich, yeah, and Eric Moscow.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Remember when we asked about putting the names back to the way they were because we didn't like them and they were confusing?
Right, like veteran mode, master mode, go back to...
They couldn't do that because basically I assume it has something to do with the coding, that they went through and made all those changes, and for them to go back, they would have to rewrite all that stuff.
You mean like when they changed it from hard mode, story mode, and nightmare to the veteran and
story, master, veteran,
all of that garbage?
The heck it is.
Pull up your control. You pull up your code, and you do Control H, and then you put what you want to replace with what you want to replace it with, and you go find, and you replace.
Yes, that worked
hard. I think they would have done that already, because I've heard no one who's liked the name change. I have not seen one person who is like, "Oh, that's really clear. That makes it so much
clearer." Not even Musco can get used to it.
Whatever. So, but I just wonder if when they made all of those changes, and it kind of would make sense, right? If they've renamed or whatever in the code this new armor and it's different than the old armor, then right? I mean, that would make sense for them not to recognize each other in something. So I just wonder if some of this
I
stuff
think
doesn't have something to do with each other, and they did all that stuff when they made all their upgrades. So
I think that's a possibility, but I choose to believe that they're just screwing with us because at this point they're like they're going to complain about everything anyways. Really give them something to complain about.
Yeah.
That's my theory, to be perfectly honest. Because again, like I said, this isn't the
But
first time the set bonuses didn't match. My first operative healer, when I geared her out, she had 0 set bonuses, and also back then you
but
didn't
so
actually have to
what
have the
I
set
want to
bonus; it
know.
wasn't necessary. But I do say I remember people having lesser armorings and higher mod enhancements so they could keep the set piece.
Yeah, but so for me, the question is how many set
Not
pieces, right? How many set tiers have we had between now and when that last time was, where um the stat bonuses have or the set piece bonuses have been consistent and have worked and have jived, right? They've been
several.
doing it for ages. So what's new about this thing that you couldn't just add
I'm
another
telling
layer
you,
on
it's
top?
a troll. They cannot please 100% of the player base. So someone's gonna get PO'd, and they're just picking and choosing. They're like, so we control these people because they're the really big complainers. So they're gonna complain anyways. Let's just give them something legit to complain about. That's my theory. I'm standing
Yeah.
by it. Change my mind.
Because
You
if you're
can't.
complaining about something legit, at least you're not complaining about something illegit. Maybe. Like how
perhaps, I
this
guess.
twisted version of thinking. How does it work?
So I know we're
Well,
running out of time. I do want to mention, because Kirk asked, there's going to be another meetup at PAX, and it's actually not that far away,
PAX South.
south.
Okay, so it's going to be in San Antonio.
Um, correct. So PAX South, San Antonio, on it looks like January 18th, 2019, at 7 p.m. at Texas. So not Texas,
Is there a tweet for this?
but
Because I want to make sure.
I'm going off what I was
What's
texted.
what's Kirk's what's
Um,
Kirk's
Kirk should be in chat, I hope still. So
Kirkadoodle? He's the
Kirk
Kirk
needs to
unit.
put it up there. He is the Kirk unit. So Kirk, you need to tweet it on your Twitter account that you never use.
I want to say he
Hint, hint.
did. Let me. Oh, he did. Okay, so I'm
Okay,
going to grab the link and I'm going to put it into chat so at least we can. Had I known that you would want to bring this, I would have bought the.
I'm sorry.
No, it's
I
all right.
forgot about it until right before we went on, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta do something about that." I know that his email must go. He didn't text me to tell me if there was yay or nay for Musco. So
Sure.
showing up. So I would contact Kirk to find out if there's going to be BioWare developers. There usually is somebody who shows up at the meetup. So it's at Tex''S Sports Bar, 200 South Alamo Street, Riverwalk.
This is
It's
great.
in the Hilton. So if you're going to be at PAX South, you want to go drink.
Yes.
Kirk has great stories. Ask him to tell you all about the Alamo and the Riverwalk and where Slurpees came from.
Awesome.
Anyway,
Neff is going as well. By the way, guys, just what you're looking at on screen right now is what happens because we are suffering with Skype 8. I've complained about it with relentlessly on Twitter. So this is the kind of stupid things it does to us. So I came up with like a frame set that if it does this to us, at least you can get through the end of the show. But we had a feed drop. So see how it resizes these windows? How are you supposed to put that in a frame set? I have got to chill, or else I'm going to overheat.
Yep. Speaking of which, since we're having technical difficulties, this is a good time to wrap it up.
It is.
So we would like to say thank you to absolutely everybody who is here in chat. Granted, a lot of you are here because Star Wars is down, but we appreciate you nonetheless. We also want to say thanks to everybody who participated in the straw poll, who participated in voting in the chat, and for everybody who downloads our podcast and checks us out on YouTube and is just generally there and supportive of us on Twitter.
Agreed.
But most of all, we'd like to say thank you for supporting this game and making it so that we can do this. Thanks.
Very
Thanks.
cool.
Thank you. Oh, and thank you to our Patreons.
Yes, to our patrons as well, absolutely.
Patrons on Patreon. I don't get it. Whatever, it's annoying. I would say patron, but everyone else is Patreon, so.
Fair enough. That brings us to the end of the episode. The council is hereby adjourned. If you'd like to reach us, you can email us at thecouncil@thecouncilswotor.com, like our Facebook page at facebook.com/thecouncilswotor. You can find Elise on Twitter at abrown35. Magic Ace is there, hiding behind her fan, at the Magic Ace with a J and a K. You can catch Redna at R3DN4 and myself at I am Sakari. Also, don't forget to, like, as we were mentioning, like or follow our Patreon page at patreon.com/the Council SWOTOR, where patrons can catch the articles that we're talking about behind the scenes, exclusive backstage access to all of our really awesome after show chat. That is it for us this week, guys. I've seen this raw strength only once before, and it didn't scare me enough then. It does now.
I understand.
You are on this council, but we do not grant you the rank of master.
What? How can you do this? This is outrageous. It's unfair. How can you be on the council and not be a master?
Take a seat, young Skywalker.
Forgive me, Master.